Hey everybody, it's the Trout. Hope you're having a great day. During the COVID crisis, millions of people's lives across this planet were affected. But out of chaos sometimes comes good things. And that's what four musicians out of the famous area of Muscle Shoals, Alabama, decided to do. They got together for the first time to form a band of musicians that want to play some original rock music for everybody out there. They're called Yes Trespassing. Four young lads that got together, started writing songs together, went to the studio and recorded, and started playing around their area and growing their fan base. This is their story about Yes Trespassing, about how out of chaos, sometimes good things come. But before I forget and move on to our story with Yes Trespassing, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. We like to do these interviews and we think you like them too. And if you do, push the button down there that says subscribe and like this video. And now, the story of four guys that took a bad situation and turned it into a great music situation. Yes, Trespassing. That's next on The Trout Show. Let me start with something. I read your bio, which is always good, and the fact that you guys started this whole thing. I guess maybe back up a little bit. Did you all know each other? Who knew who?
So I went to high school and most of school with the other guitar player Emmett,
Okay.
and I went to high school with Jonathan, the bass player, as well for most of high school. And we had played together. Luckily, Florence, where we all went through high school.
Not all of us. Oh yeah,
the three of who I'm talking about, like, had a great music program, and there was actually a recording studio in the high school.
That's pretty freaking cool, isn't it?
Oh yeah, good gear, solid gear.
Anything like that in high school.
And so we went through this program together, and spent all of high school jamming together and playing school affiliated shows and stuff like that. And so I'd always loved playing with the guys. And I had been in a band all throughout high school with some other people. And that ended about the end of my junior year. So all of my senior year and the first year after high school, I hadn't been in a band, and I had been trying to really get my foot in the door playing acoustic shows around town, because that's around here. It's a lot of playing acoustic shows in restaurants.
Yep.
And so I'd been doing that, and I hadn't been in a band in a while. I was starting to really miss it. And then I picked up a last minute acoustic set at this place in downtown Florence called the Boiler Room.
I know where it is.
Yeah.
I was just there. Yeah.
So it was like a 45-minute opening set for another guy. And I picked it up like 2 days before the show.
Is that the one with the bowling alley in the bottom?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just a short little set, easy money. And so I was playing, and about 20 minutes before my set ended, I see this long-haired surfer looking dude. I immediately knew. I was like, he's probably not from around. He had like a band. He had some band shirt on. I'm pretty sure.
He's a ferner.
I was like, he looked like he played music, and he walked in and he was very intentionally listening to the music, and I was like, that's awesome. So I get off stage, and he's like, hey man, my name's Dylan. I loved your stuff. You mind if we step outside and talk about music for a second? I was like, I'd love to. I had another gig a few hours later at Flobama, which is like right next door.
Yeah, I know where that is too. Yeah, it's right upstairs. Yeah.
I was playing the late show with a band, just kind of a sitting in for their guitar player, like the 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. slot. And so we had a couple hours to kill. So we hung out and talked for a while and showed each other music we had recorded and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I know a bass player. Like, we've got to jam next week. And
Well, you know, and things are meant to be, guys. Man, things are meant to be. I mean,
yeah,
you know, part of it is, and you know, what's interesting to me when you talk about, it's always interesting to me. I interview people all over the world, and some of the things are the same and some of the things are different. But you know, here in America, there are places that you play that you can't get a gig. I interviewed a young man about a month ago. He's a phenomenal player. He's recorded up in Nashville. He lives in LA. But trying to find a places out there is just a really pain in the you know what.
yeah,
But Trey, you're just talking about, you know, I went down to Flobama and did this, and because you know that there's so many places to play there, which is great as a performer.
yeah,
I mean, the good news is there's a lot of places to play. The bad news is there's a lot of other people doing the same thing, and they're all probably like going to Nashville. They're all freaking good, probably, or most of them are. So you're kind of competing with that space. But I think that's really great that you can do that, and then be able to expand on it. Like Dylan, you show up and go, hey, I always say that most people hold back. If you don't take the risk, you're not going anywhere.
definitely,
Right.
man.
And Dylan, the fact that maybe you were blitz, but you're still smart enough to figure out, hey, this guy's good. I need somebody like that. We need to do the thing together. And those kind of things are kind of maybe a little cosmic as things go on. You never know.
Yeah.
And so, how long were you together before you started going to the studio or doing recording or wherever you did it at?
So we met in October, and our actual, what I was saying was after that night that we told Emmett that basically he was in the band, we had already booked another studio date for
Okay.
him next week in Birmingham, and we were like, hey, just so you know, we're going to track 5 songs in like 7 days, and he's like, oh, okay. So we got together a few times, and I mean, he just learned the songs like that, and
Yeah.
that was our first EP. We released a single in June, and the other 4 songs in July of last year.
So I've been working at Ivy Manor. So I've had I've been fortunate enough to see how Ivy Manor runs and know it can work.
Yeah.
So we have worked time at Ivy Manor in October of this year to record a 5 to 6 song EP.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's where we're recording next is Ivy Manor, but up until now, all of our release music has been done at All Elegante in Birmingham.
So what are you going to do with it? I mean, what's the all right? So you go in and do the EP again,
Mhm.
and
Well, yeah,
you finish it up. Are you going to? I know I saw that you had a few gigs booked around the Shoals area,
Mhm.
and I think some other places too. But what is it you want to do? I mean, what's your goal?
So right now, we've got several shows through the end of the year. We've got a short, 4 or 5 day circuit in October. So yeah, we've got a lot of shows actually through the end of the year, mostly out of town. We're playing in Birmingham, Atlanta, Nashville.
Chattanooga, possibly New Orleans.
Yeah.
Florida again.
Yeah.
We just haven't announced these.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we have our year virtually planned out. I mean, there's
Good.
still open opportunity, But as far as planning goes, our plan is to keep hitting the circuits that we've been hitting the rest of this year, and then use next year to expand out to places like New York and Chicago, and places that we have never been. Just we've hit Birmingham and Atlanta already, and Florida so many times. We might as well just keep running it to try to build up momentum until
Sure.
we go
Yeah.
somewhere we've been before. Because I mean, like I said, we're broke, so it should be worth it before we start spending a bunch of money that we don't have.
Yeah.
So money you don't have. Yeah. So who books the bands?
So Dylan, for most of the band's life, has been booking almost all of the shows. Specifically most of the out of town shows. Local stuff, a lot of times they'll reach out to us and ask us to play.
Yeah.
But Dylan did virtually all the legwork for booking for a while. But now we've got a booking agent.
So when you go in the studio, who does the production on it? Who's the one that says, "Do you have a producer now?"
So typically it's been less, but we're kind of like, we're experimenting with new things just to try it out, see how it goes. And we're actually planning on bringing this guy in named Dan Hannon. He's actually, Michael, right, that owns Ivy Manor.
Right.
When we came in. So Michael's my boss, and Dan is Michael's business partner, and he's from Atlanta, and he is a career producer as well.
Cool.
So we decided, bring him in and see what happens, and just kind of go from there. We've never worked with him before. I know that Trey. I don't know. Have you worked with Dan?
No,
you worked with him on. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I've never worked with Dan. I've just had the pleasure of being around him here and there, and he's a great guy. And I know he's,
Super talented.
he's got a great rap sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the great thing about a good producer is they're supposed to improve you, not tell you what to do.
Right. And as far as sound goes, while we're on this topic too, I want to give a shout out to our bass player Jonathan, because I do write a lot of the lyrics, and I write I'd probably say 30 to 35% maybe of the riffs, being generous. But Jonathan is a vast and a crucial part of the US Trespassing sound. He writes.
Jonathan's a mad genius.
Yeah. And so, just wanted to give him props, and he does have a lot of production ideas too. So when we get in the studio, we do have a really great idea between the four of us, but really, between John writing most of the music and me writing the vocal melody and lyrics and stuff, like,
Right.
We usually have a great idea of, it's kind of like, when you're doing a puzzle and you take the top of the box off and you set it on the table and you're like, okay, that's what it's supposed to look like. Got all the pieces here, you
Right.
know.
That's a
So
good analogy. Yeah, it is.
Our next session. So we've always done everything in one day because, like I said, we're broke.
Yeah.
Like we recorded our EP in one day. We recorded Adam Bomb in one day. We recorded Any Less and Trick Up My Sleeve in one day. But this time we're going for 3 days in the studio for 6 songs. So that way because we want to really like focus in on what we're doing and just make sure that it's very intentional. It's, because a lot of the times when we go into the mixing stage, there's always, like, being musicians, there's always stuff that, it would have been cool if we did this on the drums or that. We only had one day, and, we can re-record guitar and all that stuff, but, like, it's always like, John is a drummer as well, which makes it nice, a cool
Right.
dynamic for me and him, because he's the bass player, and we have to be like this. So him being a drummer as well, it helps us lock in super well, because occasionally we'll be writing music and John and I will just be bouncing ideas off each other. He's like, oh, what do you think if you did this on the drums? I'm like, I like that. What if I tweaked it to this? And it's like, it's a really good dynamic between us. But all this being said, because of the fact that we're doing 3 days and we're bringing in, we're bringing in an engineer from Nashville, Dan as a producer from Atlanta,
Cool.
and then we're studio time, which is like we've never gone in depth with studio time like this before, so it's super expensive. So we actually started a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
And the GoFundMe.
Oh, you did? What's it called?
It's called Yes Trespassing Sophomore EP.
This is gonna be, it's without a doubt gonna be the coolest thing we've done so far. Without a doubt. It was good. It was really
All right.
nice. Man.
You too, guys. You have a good afternoon. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right,
You
man.
too.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. We appreciate that so very much.